Losing his footing there, Maseko. Before the tournament started, Hugo Broos, the veteran head coach of South Africa, said getting out of the group stage will be like winning the World Cup. Johnson. Good touch. Just about close ranks there, South Africa.
Yet to really take off the game. I talked about a little bit of caution in terms of how you attack, certainly. Just checking each other out. Different systems.
Working fast from Mbakazi. Up again. Wants to return, gets the return. In there, bravely. Looks for the pass. Madiba. All the way through for Apolis in the end. You see both sides have variety in their attacking play. Pace. This is so much part of the modern game, of course. Beautiful now here now for Miller. Real good style goal. Just a goal for Canada. Could have been so much more.
Showing his pace to cover Mbakazi. Saw the danger early. Sprinting across. Doing enough. Miller has to do more really. With that bit of skill. Fantastic defending once again.
Eventually, Lee Miller and Canada won't have thought of the corner. The decision has gone the way of South Africa. Just showing how quick he is playing on the ball here. Mbakazi, only 20. What a prospect. He made his debut for the senior Bafana side 12 months ago on Mbakazi. Saliba. Good steal from Olushi. Picks up an excellent pass. Just about dealt with, had to react. Smartly there, Satuli.
He saw Jonathan David alone in the penalty area. He's going to be sharper, quicker with that first touch. Otherwise, again, South African defenders will be there.
Stacking up. We'll take the latest Canada corner. All but one of the South Africa players are inside their own penalty area and attempt to defend this Canada corner. The easiest chance for Jonathan David.
No, but with how good he is, he will have wanted to do more with that. Didn't time the volley, came off the end of his toe rather than the instep. half a chance, I think, for him.
42 goals in 80 caps before today for the Juventus striker Jonathan David. Figured in all 3 games in Qatar in 2022. Partnered today by Tony Olawashe, putting the nod over Kyle Laring. With 4 changes, Jesse Marsh made to the starting 11 in the final group match, the defeat to Switzerland.
Anyone, anytime. And guess who showed up? 3 legends, peak of their powers. Everyone thinks this gotta be it. But the football gods have other plans. 2 goals, just like that. And then the king takes Zidane over the goal. He says Zidane is FIFA best goal.
I called you here today to talk about my transportation. Back to my ancestral land where I want to be.
Yes, ma'am. The Metropolitan Funeral Plan comes with avoiding repatriation.
Fire from the top.
Soccer is the language. Richie Laria turns neatly. Miller. Time and space for Bombito. South Africa edging the possession so far. They only have 31% in their final group match, a crucial win over Korea Republic. So our team will always want the ball. We've talked about the pace and energy they've got. They transition really well, just like Canada do at their best. Cornelius. Bombito. Saliba. Quickly closed down. It's not a pass pass that's going to bring anything for South Africa. The wide pass, I think, was on rather than one down the middle.
It had to be played quickly. Magopa moves offside.
Mokoena, driving force in midfield for South Africa. Ocon. Patient possession of the ball from South Africa.
Well, I'm slightly surprised that Canada aren't pressing higher. I'm sure they would have looked at that first game against Mexico, the joy the Mexicans got from pressing and causing some mistakes in that back line. I think the crowd are recognising it as well.
Cross charge down. Here's Mokoena. Excellent cross. Just triples through in the end to Prabhu. Miller. Miguel has played Miller pretty well so far.
It's been a good battle, hasn't it? Down that side.
Johnson. Bonito. These two nations have only met once before, some years ago, in a friendly in Durban, which South Africa won. Jonathan David doing well. So he was pass looking for Miller, put out easily by Mudau.
I think that's been Canada's issue, isn't it? That final pass being cut out. Good defensive unit South Africa have. So every pass has to be accurate.
South Africa have rather gone under the radar in recent years. It was until the 74-year-old Belgian Hugo Broos took over. Johnston, excellent challenge from Akpolis. Probably the left back really well there. The winger. It took South Africa to the latter stages of AFCON. Not long after taking over, Hugo Broos is the longest serving head coach in South Africa's football history. 5 years in the job now. Says he will retire at the end of this one. Mind you, he said I said that at 60. What good years he's had in the 14 years that have elapsed since. He will leave the head coach role, but there is some talk about taking up another role in a scouting position with the South African Federation. All to be determined. But they'll miss him.
Evidence in this tournament what he's built and the structure around the side.
Look, pass. Bottled up hungrily by Saliba. It's routine in the end for Williams.
Oluwaseyi was with the strike. Mokoena with the mistake. That's what Mexico did so well.
Lovely ball inside the fullback here. Maria's pace was important there because he was just on the wrong side for a split second or two. It is a South Africa corner.
Well, with a little bit more confidence, Maseko really should have driven on, struck with the right foot. Oluwaseyi with the attempt, trying to catch Williams out. Good position from the goalkeeper and nice handling.
South Africa winning the initial header, but nothing comes from that. And we remain goalless in Los Angeles. Canada, incidentally, today becoming the first host nation to play a World Cup match outside of their own country. Very much wanted to stay in Canada, you won't be surprised to hear that defeat in their final group match. And that they finished runners-up in Group B. South Africa rise up in Group A to Mexico. We've looked very good at this World Cup. So too of the reigning world champions Argentina and France. And South Africa press now with Apolis. And it's excellent defending from the man who is generally seen as Canada's best defender, Bombito.
Yeah, you can see why he's come straight back into the side, can't you? Excellent body position defensively.
And it was adjudged to have been a last touch off South Africa there, so goal kick given in the end. The World Cup will always bring its shocks and surprises. Shock felt by Turkey to go out at the group stage. Also Uruguay. Standouts, Cabo Verde, in their first ever World Cup, making the round of 32 and lying in wait, the world champions Argentina. What a reward, a tremendous performance. Some excellent round 32 games to look forward to as well. Brazil, Japan stands out, as does Netherlands and Morocco, and that lies in wait for the winners of this. Netherlands or Morocco, or either South Africa or Canada next. Miller. Saliba. Ocon. Happy enough to try the trick. Not sure Hugo Broos would want to see too much more of that in the position he was.
say, South Africa out of possession have been absolutely outstanding. They've really asked the question, is your touch good enough of the Canada players? It hasn't been so far because they just haven't let them settle at all into any sort of rhythm.
Free kick against Sitole.
I think that's called letting him know you're there. Sitole. Obviously, I've gone some calm defending also.
Saliba was really shaken up by that. Dwayne Rosario, former Canadian international. Heading towards the final 5 minutes of normal time in this first half at the Los Angeles Stadium. The opening match of the knockout stage of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Johnston. That's over-aggressive from Mbagati on Oluwaseyi.
Yeah, just sometimes you can't win the ball. He'd done enough there, he'd done really well just to take Oluwaseyi away from goal. Doesn't need to try and win the ball there, and it's given Canada an excellent position to deliver from set piece.
It will be the captain, Stephen Eustáquio. They've already had one free kick from which they ought to have scored from. And they deliver this time. Referee with a keen eye on the jostling in there. That won't trouble Ronwen Williams.
Oluwaseyi was again in the action. So difficult when there's so many bodies there to angle the header. Bouncing up and over the top of his head.
South Africa dropping into this slow possession on the feet of Williams. Bodies tumbling everywhere, but referee says play on.
It was Obito, a heavy fall, clattered into. You get to really see that genuine bit of quality in the game. Plenty of endeavour, plenty of energy on both sides, but lacking in a bit of quality and a bit of bravery, I think, in these high-pressurised games.
Just feel there's threat for both teams from the wide areas. Miller trying to provide that now. Johnston. Seen more of Miller than we have of Buchanan. Two wingers for Canada today. Miller's pass. Well, it was the right back Alistair Johnston on the end of that, and it very nearly worked out. Talk about a wandering fullback. Alistair Johnston there. Corner Canada.
He got himself involved, didn't he? Johnston did the right thing. Not really the movement that was required there from the two forward players.
Eustáquio with the corner, plays his club football in MLS in this city with LAFC. mixture of man-to-man and zonal marking here from the South Africans.
Everything will have to be looked at because there was bodies and arms everywhere. Williams was out of the play. Outstanding in there, the block, and then brilliant brave goalkeeping. And Williams taking it in the stomach. Modiba, brilliant. On the line. Just bravery everywhere from the South Africans.
Bombito, the man denied by Modiba. Good alert goalkeeping too from Ronwen Williams. And certainly Canada have created the best of the chances so far. Cornelius. Space now for Laria. Miller ahead of him. Here is Liam Miller, promoted to the English Premier League last season with his club Hull City. Oh, now then, that's a risky challenge. Canada asking the question of the Portuguese referee, João Pinheiro. But it looked a lazy waft to the leg from the South African defender. Laria went down. Canada want the penalty. Nervy moments for South Africa. VAR check.
Well, he seemed pretty confident. Pinheiro, the referee, stepped across. There he is looking to cross, of course he is. It's just whether it's deemed the contact actually comes from Correa as he swings his leg around. Without, I think the referee's got this absolutely spot on. There wasn't really a challenge there. Correa's leg has gone in between Mudez. And naturally, in my opinion.
Yes, I think Mudez there plants his leg before the contact came, but the VAR check is continuing here. Carlos Tercero Grande of Spain in charge of VAR here in LA today. Still in the ear of the Portuguese referee, João Pinheiro. It appears now the check is over. We remain goalless, heading towards half-time. Saliba. Ocon with time to go back to Williams. Lunchtime kickoff here in Los Angeles. And the day is getting a little warmer. It was 20 degrees centigrade at kickoff time. It's gone up by 3 or 4 degrees, I would think, now, but no problems for the players out here. And here's O'Shea. Tries to make the shooting opportunity himself, runs into traffic. Dua gets the free kick. Nadal, who took the knock, probably the referee's whistle was in his favour. It was a minimum of 3 additional minutes added on, and that time is now concluded. So it's a goalless first half, but Jesse Marsh will be bemoaning the chance in particular for Derek Cornelius, a close-range header no power on it. It was an easy save for Ronwen Williams. South Africa had the
16 Live. Your story matters. ABSA.
Only one South African player out at the moment ahead of the second half, as this is going to be a change at the break from Hugo Broos, the Bafana head coach. And this is midfielder talented Mbata, who is going to replace Bahile Mofokeng. Will be keeping the 11 that they started with. But it was the only player that loses place from the final group game. One will win against Korea Republic. And a turn from suspension for complaining. This historic run, Hugo Broos, a stage further in the last 16 matchup against either the Netherlands or Morocco. And Canada, as we've said, didn't have the better opportunities in that first half. Cornelius, close from Cheddar, should have done better with Beatles had a big goalkeeper, Robin Williams. There to make the clearance off the line. But you're always going to be on television. Recognise that. What a magnificent sight. So the official introduction now for Mbata. Plays for Orlando Pirates, the current South African champions. Too much of the highly talented 21-year-old Mofokeng in that first half. Circumspect would be a word that you could apply to that first half. No risks taken really. There were a few chances created. South Africa really yet to work. Maxime Crepeau in the Canada goal. There's Adua.
Well, you just wonder, don't you, whether there was a slight injury for Mofokeng, because it was such a good first half performance from South Africa. Couldn't give away too many chances. Mbata given an opportunity, maybe with a slight injury from Mofokeng.
Here's Johnston. Yes. About to keep that in, passed it down, and Miller. Way wide of the target. wonder whether Alistair Johnston actually kept that ball in.
It was so close, wasn't it? Would have been looked at, like it may well have done, but still, Miller wasn't to know. And he bounced towards him. An awkward technique to use. He didn't do it very well.
They've gone. Heavy pressure here. There's no back pass to goalkeeper Williams there. Miller. Liddell. Ball pass. Maseko. Open space in midfield now for Saliba. An energetic first half. And it's a foul by David.
Well, I think with that change, there has been a slight shift in the formation for South Africa. Only slightly. Mbappé was playing as a 10 behind the striker. He's now gone with Sotole sitting and the two midfielders more advanced. Maybe want a little bit more support from Magopa.
Maseko. Kick goes the way of South Africa. Canada creating history along with South Africa, making the knockout stage of the World Cup for the first time. 4 points for the Canadians to get here today in the round of 32 as the fewest by a home nation to qualify for a World Cup group stage since the USA, who also got through with 4 points in 1994. South Africa got 4 points for the third time at a World Cup. This time they progressed. South Africa injury here. She's delaying the Canada throw. So one from Mokoena.
Just a slight follow through on the foot, wasn't there? But as we've seen in this tournament, the referee asking a player, does he want it to go off and then have to wait for a minute? And he doesn't. So the game can continue.
It's a very good addition to the game, that new ruling. A number of tweaks to the rules to prevent time wasting, speed the game up. Canada looking to profit from the long throw. Laria to Miller. Saliba. Johnston. to Johnston and a look. The Celtic defender for another long throw here. Every minute in Qatar 2022, the throw-in taker. O'Shea unable to direct his header into a troublesome area for South Africa. Nothing to do here for Laria. He puts his head in there first. And the referee has penalised South Africa.
Yeah, Mbata was just raising his foot. He did a touch, Laria with the header away. It's fallen into a similar pattern, hasn't it, to the first half? On both sides, I don't think really, at the moment anyway, they're willing to really risk too much, risk that extra player getting forwards to make those overloads needed to cause problems defensively for the other side. Plenty of substitutions as well that can make a big difference as we go into the latter stage of the game.
Yeah, and the timing of those substitutions could well be key today in this round 32 match. Both sides have had a good look at one another in terms of plan A. Let's see if either have got a plan B to find the breakthrough. Okay, against Richie Laria. Compacted fullback.
You just can't go through the back of a player to get the ball, even if you do get a touch.
Ocon. Nadal. Incidentally, taken away after the group stage. That was impish from
Would you get an extra prize if you get two in a row? Really, was it?
You should have. Absolutely deserving of an extra prize. So confirmation of Nathan Saliba's yellow. Midfielder from Anderlecht. Have almost 10 minutes of the second half. There's been no attempt on either goal since the restart. Williams asking for movement. Little short throw here. Without. And Bogassi opens the play up wide left for South Africa. Good clean hands from Kirkwood.
Just half an opportunity opened up for South Africa, didn't it, with that delightful football that they played. It's cut through midfield. Again, that final ball just wasn't there.
And that's what's been missing for both teams thus far. Seko taking too long to It's passed away, and it's a free kick here to Canada. FIFA president watches on, and you wonder whether this is going to be a first goalless draw for both these nations at the World Cup.
I think just falling on the heel here of Maseko on court there. Maseko.
Jesse Marsh is going to make a couple of substitutions. We're going to see the departure of Moise Bonbito and Nathan Saliba, who picked up that yellow card a few moments ago. And the players are going to arrive for Canada off the bench, and then will be Luke Fixture and Nico Sigur. We were expectant, fans of both Canada and South Africa, that we might get a breakthrough. But they're finding their own entertainment at the moment. Slip on the changes. Young defender Luke Figueroa, born in England, moved to Canada at a young age, only 20, and was in Belgium. He tended Saliba off. As I mentioned, Bonbito too. And the other arrival is Nico Sigur, who's in Croatia with Hajduk Split. So he played 16 minutes so far at this World Cup. Sigur.
Well, not exactly the attacking changes that maybe we would have thought of at this stage. Bonbito, I think, probably had around 60 minutes. He'll come back from injury. And of course, that yellow card for Saliba, taking no chances.
Cornelius. Space to turn into for Oluwaseyi. Jonathan David. Miller. But the ball touched the referee there. Immediately signals João Pinheiro. There's nothing really he could do to do his best to try and get out of the way of this.
Cornelius obviously incensed, but maybe the deflection from the referee helped him get the ball anyway.
Does have the look of a match where the first goal could be so important. Defence has largely been on top. Rather frustrated with Williams again, but takes an opportunity to slow the play down a number of times today. Miller. Modiba. Well-timed challenge by Figueroa. Walker, the target of the long ball from Williams. Modiba. Mpagazi. Liddell. South Africa. No direction from the right fixture from Annapolis.
Opened up there, didn't it? He used the room to cut inside. Struck it well. Cricket really did leave it. Was convinced that it was a long way wide. Wasn't that far. Did just bend away though. Annapolis with his strike.
Got a record of a goal every 3 games for South Africa. Oswin Annapolis. South Africa will be looking to up that tally of attempts on target. Space in midfield here now for Canada. Buchanan the target for the pass. Quick though he is, couldn't get there. But he has earned the side of throw.
Mbakasi again with the pace to cover, reading the game well. The centre back, even the pace of Buchanan wasn't enough there.
Another Alistair Johnston long throw here for the Canadians. South Africa have defended those long throws comfortably so far. A reminder, 30 minutes extra time, penalties are needed to decide our first time through to the round of 32 at the FIFA World Cup 2026. Standalone game today. Couple of great games tomorrow. Brazil, Japan, Netherlands, Morocco on paper at least. Canada coming, find a lead to go.
Just fantastic desire to keep the ball out of your net. Great ball through. Well, I would say with the chance, brilliant save by Williams and then Mbakasi. Unbelievable. That save was stunning from Williams. And then the defender just wanted it and had to still steer it away from goal. Did so excellently.
Estakio will take the Canada corner. First header won by the Figueroa, but couldn't direct it on target. Well, O'Shea denied it was a really good save, as you said, from Ronwen Williams. And then tremendous defending.
And the referee's view just showing how fantastic, first of all, the save was from Williams, and then the clearance from Mbakasi.
And that's why Mbakasi is so highly rated. The 20-year-old plays in the United States with Chicago Fire. But all the meaningful chances have fallen the way of Canada here today. But we remain goalless in Los Angeles. Been offside there. That's Buchanan, but front staying down at least for now. And it's going to be a booking for substitute Sigurd. And we've reached the second half hydration break.
Your big moments deserve big storage in a sleek, stunning device. Get the Samsung Galaxy A17 for just $219 per month. Plus, get 20 gigs free bonus data and a free 500 Rand accessory voucher to power your day. Call 10213, click telcom.co.za, download the My Telcom app, or go to any Telcom shop.
Is that KFC's Chewy Chewy burger facing off with KFC's Prego? Chewy is creamy, Prego is spicy, tangy, vibrant, zesty, punchy. Ah, they both look so good! It's KFC's Chewy versus KFC's Prego Fully Loaded Box. Pick your side for $99.90.
Oh no, we do sports and games. How are you going to keep this up? This is why you can't wear green in front of the screen. What do you mean you burnt your finger? It's like the players are really here. Not here, she's just practicing. Of course we value you. Guys like you are hard to find. In your game.
Play with SA's leading online casino. World sports betting. We bring the action, you bring the play.
Inside a Discovery Bank card, you'll find Discovery Miles, the reward currency that gets you gadgets and gear, coffee and couches, and banking, relaxing, gaming and streaming. Miles are more valuable than cash, saving you up to 30% on the things you want and the things you need. Earning miles is easy, spending them is a joy, because it's a Discovery Bank card and the rewards are inside.
That's the end of Oliver Shea. Scoring in the headlines in the last Canada attack. Opportunity for Shuttleberg. Took the maritime Messi by the Canadian media. Only a danger off the left flank, replacing Miller in that position. Thomas David scored after just 72 seconds off the substitute bench against Switzerland in the group stage.
A different profile of player, isn't he, to Orchard? He added a bit of height from set plays. It could become crucial now as we get towards the latter stages of the game.
Two Davids up front now for Canada. Promise and Jonathan. Jonathan Davids only had 4 touches of the ball in this second half. Seko trying to buy the free kick and did exactly that. Seko has to tread carefully, the substitute on that yellow card for Canada. quite warm now at the Los Angeles Stadium. You don't get high humidity on the West Coast. Even if we go through to 30 minutes extra time, both these sides would have played in much more trying conditions than this. Hugo Broos, who was part of the Belgian squad that finished fourth in the World Cup in 1986, former centre-back. Game just been truncated by a number of stoppages for free kicks.
Segura it was who just couldn't get there quick enough.
Strikers looking to press the goalkeeper. Of course, Roman Williams is just trying to tease them out of shape and trying to find a pass between the lines, but it hasn't really worked, this tactic so far for South Africa. And it's just testing the footwork of the South Africa captain. Passes the test. Mbata. Good forward pass, space literally on the South Africa left. They've got an overload pass. Double down is decent. Canada struggling to fill the gaps. No introduction for Pepo as Canada prepared to make another change.
But the early chance, wasn't it? The left foot, Madiba needed to be better across when it was headed back down. You're going away from goal. Sitole, who was with the effort in the end, up and over.
John Buchanan has gone off. And there's a huge roar from the Canadian supporters. The first sight of Alphonso Davies at Bayern Munich. Normally the Canada captain. Injury. He had a really nasty ACL problem earlier in the year, and he's recently been troubled by a hamstring problem as well. Will his introduction now be the catalyst to Canada getting over the line? We all know the quality Alphonso Davies has.
Well, he is their best player. He's the star, isn't he? Of course they will have missed him. Can he make the difference? We know he's got the quality too, that's for sure.
A lot of his career as a left back, but he's going to play higher than that with Laria operating in that defensive back four. So Davies will be looking to influence the play further up the pitch. And here he is in possession. It's a good early pass as well. Just a whisker wide. Arrived nicely for Promise David.
Well, he did. The setback from Jonathan David into his path to strike towards the corner. Williams had it covered. It wasn't the cleanest of strikes. It was always just curling away. Could have lent it to Schaffelberg as well, to his right. But Alphonso Davies already having an influence. Great ball in towards Jonathan David.
The attendance just been announced here at the Los Angeles Stadium. Not far short of 70,000 again. Interesting call from Jesse Marsh to bring Promise David on ahead of Kyle Larin. David less experienced. Davis. Canada's XG naturally more than that of their opponents, as they have had the meaningful chances. Johnston needs to be careful, and was. Played every minute so far in the World Cup, as for Johnston. Cornelius. Davies, hungry for the ball. Specchio. Alfonso Davies. Neat little pass. Written away by Williams at the near post. He's only been on, less than a couple of minutes. He's already lifting his Canada performance. Alfonso Davies.
Excellent, wasn't it? Of course, wonderful left foot, but just feinting to go to his left, cutting in on his right, playing it in towards Jonathan David.
One thing that South Africa have become under Hugo Gross is mentally tougher. And when they need to see out these minutes now, Canada are on top. The winners of this round of 32 match play the winners of tomorrow's game between the Netherlands and Morocco. That will be in Houston on July 4th, America's 250th birthday. Davis. Canada trying to keep the tempo high now and realise that they have got the South Africans on the back foot. Johnston. Figaro. Often the week again is the Canada captain, Alfonso Davies. No surprise, he's the go-to man. Brookfield from South Africa.
Just starting to get a good grip on the game, Canada. We've just got to keep this pressure, momentum, really test the concentration of the South Africa players defensively.
Alistair Johnston. Decent cross. Really by Mudau. Just needs some possession here, South Africa. Madiba winning his side. A useful free kick. Jonathan David denied a little earlier.
Yeah, just tried to use pace to beat Williams at his near post. High into that near post top corner. Just wasn't quite high enough. Again, excellent positioning from the goalkeeper.
Johnston's pass could be a really good one. Just lacking an extra attacker there. Thomas David was just waiting for Jonathan David to arrive, and the chance for the opening was gone. This is where you've got to deal with the emotions of a World Cup from South Africa's perspective. You're not seeing a great deal of the ball in the last 10 minutes. No way through for Canada this time. Moseko. Now they can get out. Not forward. Davies. Good defending from Miguel. Evidence Magopa is going to be taken off shortly by Hugo Gross. Reynolds is going to be his replacement. Here is Magopa. Napolis. And the ball from there. Not sure it was on target, but the ball took no chances.
Napolis again, getting onto his right foot, striking from distance. Walcott, again, handled well.
Canada finding gaps again. Away by Miguel. Says the referee, no contact on Miguel by Cornelius. Canada sensing that a goal is just around the corner for them. Davies. No way through for the Canada captain there. Next time to play the double substitution for South Africa. Portuguese referee gives the South Africans the free kick. Carries the ball well. Napolis, an important role he's got right now. So Reynolds and Morini will be the players on. Sepan Morini, striker. So too is Ikram Reynolds. Off goes Magopa. He's run his heart out along that front line. Would have liked some more service, obviously. But an honest performance from him. And the other player making way is Moseko. So it's attacking changes. Fresh legs, top end of the pitch for South Africa.
Well, for all substitutions, it's your opportunity, isn't it, to be the hero of your nation.
Really good. And it's that player again, Mbagazi. I talked earlier about his reading of the game. He's got a lot, hasn't he? He's athletic, quick. That reading of the game for one so young. What a brilliant player he is.
Really caught the eye, hasn't it? Mbakasi. He's needed to as well. A couple of times been left on his own to defend. Read the situation, used his pace as well.
3 minutes to go plus stoppage time. Could be heavy on the first match of the knockout stage of the FIFA World Cup 2026 for extra time. Unless there's a moment's inspiration or perhaps an error that decides it. Here's Alfonso Davies. And not one of his great crosses from South Africa can hit over it. A bit empty in midfield for Canada. Ocon on Mbakasi. That'll be a throw to Canada, will it? No, very well kept in on Modiba. No real sign of adventure from South Africa. They're going to set off for extra time. It would appear so. That's a quick pass. Just for a moment, the Figueroa's out of position, but he reacted very quickly. South Africa looking at him again, but they're denied by the referee's whistle.
And at this level, the touch has to be pretty perfect. And it's just off by Reuters. And then allowed the Figueroa's the opportunity to step in. They're the fine margins.
Well, he's seen it all, Hugo Gross. And I might see more of this World Cup with South Africa after today. That great line, I'll repeat again before the World Cup, if we get out of the group stage, it will be like winning the World Cup for South Africa. Will it be they or Canada to take the next step? It's incumbent upon Canada to maybe press the goalkeeper occasionally. They haven't really done so. And Williams has had that cheap possession at the back.
Well, to me it seems that Canada are worried that if they do go and press, they get played through. The pace that South Africa have on the break will hurt them.
Minimum of 5 extra minutes. Jonathan David. But Davis ahead of him. It's not a good pass though. Allowed Vidal to make the interception. Seguro.
just traps him with his chest down to the ground and then gets right over it to keep it low and cuts across it to zip it past Williams, who had absolutely no chance of saving it. The captain, Estequio, with outstanding bit of technical ability from the edge of the area, could well put Canada through.
Look what it meant to Jesse Marsh and his staff. Now, have South Africa got anything left? There's not much time left. Interception by Johnston. With the Canada celebrations, we're already almost into the fourth of the minimum of 5 extra minutes. Well, he was captain at the start of today. He gave up the armband when Alphonso Davies came on, but leadership role from Estequio. His first goal for Canada in 2.5 years, and what a time to get it. "90 seconds, a little more, following the Canadian celebrations to be played. Without. Canada fans really finding their voices now.
Absolutely have another look. The technique was perfect, keeping it down. The volley, not easy when there's players on rushing. See what it means to them.
With the 95th minute now. Johnston struggling to get there for Canada, but helped out importantly in that right back berth. Referee signalling there's going to be an extra minute to be added on to the initial 5 shown. It's now or never for South Africa. Can they create one big chance? Away by Cornelius. Putting it across him now. Apples. Shallow, comfortable defending for Canada. And they may well have done enough. Canada want the referee's full-time whistle. We play on. Last opportunity surely for South Africa. In it will come. Goalkeeper takes all the pressure off his defenders, and that should be enough for Canada. The co-hosts playing outside of their home nation for the first time at this World Cup. After finishing runners-up in Group B, about to eliminate the runners-up in Group A, South Africa. What a run for Jesse Marsh. And for the oldest man to ever be a head coach in a World Cup knockout game. It seems the end of the road for Hugo Bruce and South Africa. And it is elimination for Bafana Bafana. But Canada in uncharted waters are sailing into the last 16. Thanks to a dramatic late goal from Stephen Estequio. for a right foot shot that gave Ronwen Williams no chance. And there could be no arguments, the better side on the day has won. South Africa were looking for 30 minutes extra time, but denied in the end with a goal in stoppage time. Finishes in Los Angeles in the round of 32. South Africa 0, Canada 1.